Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to day number 20 of 31 days of tutorials. My name, as usual, is Ryan Hafey with Hafey Digital, and in this video we are going to be talking about all things adjustment layers. What are they? How do you create them? How can you use them? All that kind of stuff. Let's jump into Premiere. So for the sake of this video, I'm just going to go ahead and use the same clips that I used from my last video about copying and pasting effects to multiple clips quickly and easily. But before we go any further, it's probably important to answer the following question. What are adjustment layers? Adjustment layers are basically invisible layers that you can apply to your timeline in Premiere Pro, and to them you can add effects. And then whatever effects you apply to those adjustment layers, it will then apply those effects to any clips beneath them. If that doesn't make any sense, just bear with me, because next we need to talk about how do you create an adjustment layer? Well, glad you asked. So over here in Premiere, all you want to do is go over to your project panel here. At the bottom, you're going to see this little new icon button. Click on that. You will see adjustment layer there. Click on that. It'll bring up this little dialog here, and this will default to the settings of your sequence. So you want to just go ahead and hit OK. And once you do that, you will see the adjustment layer show up in your project panel. From there, just drag it into your timeline, stretch it out as long as you need it to be, and boom, your adjustment layer is created. So now you're probably hoping that I will show an example of how adjustment layers work. Let's do that right now. So I'm just going to use that same invert effect that we used from the last video, just for simplicity's sake. I've got it searched up here in my effects panel. I'm just going to click and drag the invert effect onto my adjustment layer, release the mouse button, and boom. Now you see that all the clips have the invert effect applied to them, and if I go in here and hide the adjustment layer, you will see that those effects go away. But what are some of the common ways that you can use adjustment layers, Ryan Hafey with Hafey Digital? Well, once again, I'm glad you asked. You have such good questions today. Now, personally, I use adjustment layers mostly for color correction and color grading. I like to apply an overall color grade to all of my clips, which I apply to that one adjustment layer. And then let's say if I need to tweak any of the clips, let's say if I need to tweak the white balance or adjust the highlights or something like that, I will do those tweaks on the clips themselves. That way I'm not affecting the overall grade that I've applied to all those clips in that adjustment layer. But that's not all they're good for. In fact, if you've watched any of my previous videos or even the beginning of this one, you'll notice that little zoom transition that happens in the beginning right after the little intro animation. I use adjustment layers to achieve that effect as well. Let me show you how that works. So we're now at the beginning of the sequence from my last tutorial, and I'll just kind of play the end of the intro here so you can see the effect that I'm referring to. See how it kind of zooms in real quick like that? And for this particular effect, I'm using two different adjustment layers, and they are both located right here. Now I won't go into how I created that effect, but long story short, on this top adjustment layer, I'm applying the transform effect, which is what creates the kind of zoom in effect. And then beneath that, I have a second adjustment layer to which I added replicate and mirror effects, which help create that smooth transition from the intro into the beginning of the tutorial part of the video. But those are the main ways that I use adjustment layers. And now I pass a question on to you. How do you use adjustment layers? Leave a comment below and let me know about some of the creative ways that you use adjustment layers. I'd love to read about them, and come back and see us tomorrow because we'll be back with another tutorial. Until then, bye-bye.